All right, guys, so today we're going to talk about the second type of plate boundary, which is a divergent plate boundary. So make sure to copy this down in your notebook and pause the video at any time if I'm going too fast. So the definition of a divergent plate boundary is when two plates move apart. There's two types of divergent plate boundary. There's an oceanic and there is a continental. So let's start with oceanic. An oceanic plate boundary is when the two plates of oceanic crust are moving away from each other. So we're going to draw our two oceanic plates. They are thin and dense. They move away from each other. We can even add a little water if we want. And this is due to our mantle convection currents moving away from each other. Now what's going to happen is this mantle material is going to push up through the plates, and we're going to have this land feature called a mid-ocean ridge. A famous example of this is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and it's very simply named the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. The second type of divergent plate boundary is the continental. And as you might have guessed, this is when two continental plates are moving away from each other. So we're going to draw our thick, light continental crust moving away from each other. This is again due to the mantle material, the mantle convection currents moving away from each other. But this time the mantle material is not going to come up through the continents because the continents are too thick. So what's going to happen is it's going to start pulling apart, and the land in between is just going to start sinking down and getting thinner and thinner. And we call this a rift valley. An example of the rift valley is the Great Rift Valley. Again, simply named, got to keep it simple in science, in East Africa. Fun fact, this can be viewed from the International Space Station. Now eventually over time, this rift valley is going to get so wide and this crust is going to get so thin that water will fill in, and it'll eventually turn into an oceanic divergent plate boundary. So before you guys come into class tomorrow, make sure you've got this down so we can talk about what are some of the effects of these situations.